Welcome everyone to the AM show. And today we are on the segment that I've dubbed as Men on Their Purpose, just shining a light on men amongst us that are doing amazing and great work that, it's an inspiration to all of us. They are making an impact in our own community and they are doing some real shit. They're not just sitting on their rollers and waiting for stuff to happen. They are, putting their foot on the pedal and working. So thanks everyone for joining me for this session. Today I have the pleasure of having for this second episode of Men on Their Purpose, a doctor, a man that I've looked up to. I've seen some of the great work he's doing on YouTube and we want to learn all about that. So without much ado, I want to welcome Dr. Lewis Muchile. Karibu sana daktari.
Asante sana. A pleasure to be here.
Yeah, I think let's start it off. First of all, thanks for your time and for agreeing to come, for agreeing on my invite. So I think we'll go straight to it. So tell us a little bit about Dr. Lewis. Who is he? I see there's this thing called doctor. Is it one of those PhD kind of things, or are you a real doctor who works in a hospital? Is it a specialty you have you have, or what kind of a doctor are you? So let's start it off with that.
Well, again, thank you so much for hosting me. My name is Dr. Lewis Muchile, and I want to appreciate this type of conversations because at some point they'll come to open up our minds about life, about health, and possibly to spread the gospel so that most people start getting it, because I know the brainwashing out here is huge. So my name is Dr. Lewis, as I said. I am a clinical pharmacist. Okay, that's why I'm a doctor. I'm a clinical pharmacist. So basically, my daily job is to deal with drugs and also clinical based. So basically, I enjoy being near the patients, and that's why I'm so much into the clinical part and not the pharmaceutical part. Yeah, so here I'm in Kenya. Currently, I work in Moyale, Marsabit County.
Oh, wow.
And I saw the need to just possibly bridge, because I have some experience about health. So I saw the need to just bridge the gap between healthcare and the population in general. Because basically, I realized there are so many misconceptions around health that that doctors somehow just skip up. Like as we talk, I'll give you some examples about health that you need to understand, and then you start opening up your mind about health, and then you see if at all drugs and the healthcare system is really corrupt, or yeah, because it's serious, bro. Yeah. It's serious. So basically, that's just my background. Yeah, I had a chance to work in Kenyatta National Hospital, and then again I went to Mombasa for Coast General. Then yeah, here we are now. I'm working along cross border, both for Kenya and Ethiopia, and we appreciate that so far. So yeah, that is the basic for me.
Yeah. It reminds me in my days when I used to work for a non-profit. I remember we used to have an office that was, so we used to operate in Somalia. And I remember taking a flight. Did I take it from Wilson or from JKIA? I'm not even sure where I took them. I don't think I've actually ever taken a flight from Wilson. So we took one from JKIA all the way to Mandera. Yeah. But I was going to Somalia. So the idea was you get to Mandera, then go to the border. And literally the border was like a gate. I was told that's Somalia. So go through that gate and you'll be in Somalia. And then the funny thing was my driver was going to be a few meters. So I was just told, cross there. Yeah. Then as soon as you get into Somalia, you walk a few more steps. I don't know how long I walked. And I saw a guy with a gun. So that was going to be my security. So yeah, guys, he saw me, he called my name. Then we went to the car. Then they took me to the guest house where we used to live. Oh man, I've had some interesting adventures in Somalia. And I remember while we were there, we could cross over into Ethiopia. Now, the funny thing was, because Somalia doesn't have beers, we used to cross over into Ethiopia, buy a couple of beers, and cross back, then drink them at the guest house.
Same thing happens here all the time.
We had some very fun time. I don't remember those beers. They are little brown bottles. I don't know what you call them. Do you go get your liquor?
Unfortunately, no.
You don't drink.
I tapped out to beer and stuff because I had to become an advocate for healthy living. And again, beer is estrogenic. So, and again, these sides, most the entire population is basically the major population is basically Islam or Muslim. So it gets tougher when you start to preach such information, and then they see you go buy the beer.
So
it becomes a little
enough
tough.
of my story. What I wanted to know was what led you to decide to go to be stationed in Moyale? Was it a choice? Were you just posted there by government? And even when you're posted there, do you get a choice or no?
First of all, I wanted to know that anybody with hard hair, they call it gurale.
Gurale.
So anybody of my caliber, it gets tough for you to find an employment or employment in these types of area, these sorts of area like Mandera and Moyale and Marsabit. It becomes a little hard for you. However, I was lucky to get a contract when COVID came in. So that time I was in Mombasa. I was working in Coast General. And then things happened and the government decided to give me a chance to come and serve the people of Marsabit. So this is basically COVID. So I always see COVID as something that, of course, it came with its effects and people suffered. But again, I got a job out of that because I was so vigilant with the stuff to do with drugs and all these things. So it became easier for me to come over. But I was a little resistant because the life in Mombasa, Nairobi, and the rest, and the life here, they are two different lives, trust me. So I was a little resistant about it. But again, I'm a person who takes health as a service more than the job. So I actually, the first person I talked to was my dad, and I asked my dad, now they've decided to take your son to Moyale. What do you think? My dad told me, you go. If you want prayers, I'll pray for you. I'll be here praying for you, but you go. So I didn't see any problem coming over to serve these guys. And so far it's been a good experience. And I want to assure you that being in Moyale has totally taken a different turn for me, basically. I can't explain it, but believe me, it's a huge deal for me because I have all the time to educate the masses. I've had the chance to be part of the government and also the private institutions and also to work again across the border. So this experience has just made me to start realizing how much or how important health is. And that's the reason why I'm doing what I do all the time.
So you have a great passion for it. I mean, it's more than just a job where you get your monthly paycheck. Do you feel a stronger drive for it?
Sure, bro. Let me tell you, when I was an intern, straight from internship, the excitement was the money. So this paycheck, you're not used to good money, and then you're here, now you're getting this good money, and I was like, now I'm here. Then I started asking myself, then what? Then what? Because at the end of the day, the money has come. Now I actually, I did not have a salary for this job for like 6 months, and it wasn't a big deal for me. But if you delayed that salary in internship more than 4 months, it would be a problem. So back then, I actually got that money because they hold that money for almost 4 months, then they give you a lump sum. So I managed to add weight. I was 68 kgs. So I ran up to 102 kgs. So you can imagine the excitement.
I want to see those pictures.
I will make sure you see them.
So the transformation, man.
Then weirdly, the society basically from my parents, specifically my mother, and people who were around me. They were so excited to see their son. He's making money. He's now the bazoo,
Yeah.
And I used to walk 10 meters and I feel like I'm not okay health-wise, okay? So yeah, it really opened up my mind. So Moyale became a huge transformation for me.
So would you say probably maybe one of the reasons why it has been sort of a blessing for you to be, sort of out there in some godforsaken land, is you're sort of away from all the distractions. Just imagine if you're somewhere like Nairobi and you've got all this distraction all around you. Does that give you the focus, to build yourself mentally, physically, always, all aspects?
That is for sure, because I remember when I was still in Mombasa, I didn't have that active life, like physically. It was all about job, and I go to work. After work, I come back. Then, of course, the cycle continues. Friday, I'm excited for the weekend. We have this fun weekend. Then Monday again, I'm like, oh, Monday blues. I have to go to work. So I never had time for myself, and also time to just expand my understanding about healthcare and diets. So Moyale played a very huge role, because I had some friend, was a friend of mine, that we used to reside in Mombasa. So I made sure when I got that letter to come to Moyale, I dragged him here. The reason why I did that is because I wanted him to just experience a different life. And when he came here, we had a hard time finding even a house to stay in. So for almost a week, we didn't find a house. Then we went back to Nairobi. When we went back to Nairobi, he told me, Moyale, I cannot come. And that was my closest friend. So he told me, hey, bro, I can go anywhere for you, but Moyale, I cannot come. So you see, that alone hit me hard. Then I was like, okay, now I have to realize I'm on my own. First of all, Moyale is very far. I had a business in Nairobi. I used to sell clothes and did well. Then after a year in Moyale, I realized the distance is quite demanding. So I had to sell off that business. That was one. Two, I had to lose friends totally because the communication just disappeared. And again, we don't see each other as often. I don't get excitement on Friday as often because this is an Islam place. So on Friday, I know it's just mosque day. Then there's no that excitement, that oomph that you get in Nairobi when it's Friday. So now a week became just a normal thing for me. And I appreciate that because I now started thinking, what else can I do to improve life of others? But first, my life. So again, I started gym sessions, I started healthy living, fasting and stuff. And it went so well with me because at that moment in time, I was just focusing and I was all into books. So I was doing so much reading, so much online courses and stuff, and so much interactions with people from different backgrounds. So I got to understand the cultures, I got to understand the misconceptions around health because now I had all the time. I used to work half a day, then I have all the time. Then when I'm on night shifts, I used to do 7 days and then go for 9 days. And I'm not going anywhere, I'm just in Moyale. So my life became totally books, research, and yeah, everything just started flowing. So it helped me focus a lot. That one I can agree.
That's amazing. I think we live in a world where it's this FOMO thing, fear of missing out.
Yes.
But I think, I look at, this guy called Warren Buffett.
Yeah.
He lives and works in a place called Omaha, Nebraska.
Yeah.
But his impact is felt all the way on the Wall Street in New York, where all the action is. But him is like in some godforsaken, I wouldn't say godforsaken, but it's like a slow town. If you had to compare the city of Omaha to a New York, it's like a village compared to a city.
Yeah.
And that shows the impact that you can have generally when you unplug.